Welcome to the Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
So extra, but I know I'm the same. Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. Cause when it pop off, it's like, oh my, all good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that way. Tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night. Now all of my calls go to voicemail. I block you so I don't raise hell. Should've talked through it in detail. Our separate ways ain't gon' end well, no. But when we get back, it's like, oh my, all bad all day, but the night I get that good till we act right.
Tell the truth.
So tell me what we on a day, babe.
Tell the truth.
I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. You'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave. Tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead. We could go all night.
I've been calm, cool, collected, but you push
Okay, everybody.
Lower your attention, I'm under pressure. Okay, I'm admitting that.
Peace. What's up, everybody?
Information long as you know
is power.
When you look at me, you see the soul through my flesh. You shine.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the program. Thank you for being here. I hope everybody can hear. And let me know if you can hear my microphone, my mic just fine, by hitting a 1 in the chat room. This is going to be a very good program today. Everybody by now has been made aware of the situation with Travis Scott, Live Nation, the Astroworld Festival, some of the tragic things that have happened. We know that 2 years ago, this was the third annual, if I'm not mistaken. The last 2 years, this festival has had problems. This time around, people lost their life. And it was also reported that there's more than 8 people that have passed away. There is now 10 people, and there was a 9-year-old child that was taken out of here due to being in that environment. And now we have I would say, a great lawyer, fantastic lawyer in the Empowered Esquire TV. As always, folks, in the description of this video, you will find a link to her YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe when you have an opportunity and hit the bell of notification. This is very important. Once again, she is the special guest today, breaking down all the things that we need to know about the law, because we can get on social media, we can speculate, we can say, oh, this is what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. And for the most part, most of us don't really know unless we are a lawyer and we understand the law and how the law works. Who is liable in this case? Is it Travis? Y'all know how I do it over here. Is it Travis Scott that's liable? Is it Live Nation? Is it the county of Houston? Is it the park? Who is responsible? Who's going to take full liability? Who's going to be hit with lawsuits? And what lawsuits are going to stick? We also heard that Drake, because there are individual people that were injured that are now taking lawsuits and have lawyered up to take lawsuits, not to mention the people that have actually lost family members. So with that said, let me bring in my sister herself, the Empowered Esquire TV right now. Let me give her a much needed clap.
Tell the truth.
And there you go, sister. I'm glad you're here. You take front stage, counselor. You're attorney at law. First of all, you told me that you've been traveling a little bit. How are you doing right now at this time?
I am wonderful. As you know, Infoman, you and I are both fellow Scorpios.
Yes.
I'm celebrating another year on this earth, another year of life and love. And so I'm really in a space of gratitude right now, and spending time with family.
Okay. How can I say this? I'm sure you've been following the situation, or you at least have heard about what has happened at Astroworld, Travis Scott. And before the night is over, I actually have something that I want to let you know and everybody else know tonight that really blew my mind, that I found out today about Travis Scott and how this situation is actually affecting him. It's going to blow you away. You've been hearing about the lawsuits. There's individuals, folks that have had some personal injury, some injury in this concert, going to this concert. We've got children, we got adults, we got a whole variety of folks that have lawyered up and they're taking lawsuits out. A few weeks ago, there was thoughts that, hey, they're going to go after Drake. They're going to go after Travis Scott. They're saying that Drake was on stage and he contributed to what they're saying is inciting the crowd. We know that Travis Scott has a history in the past where he has been under what you call it, probation, because they said that he sort of incites the crowd and gets people hyped up, and his shows are very, charged up. So the question is, will that impact him in this too, counselor? I'm going to ask you those questions. And so the question is, who's liable? Who's going to take the brunt of this? Give us the legal perspective. Thank you again for being here.
No problem. It's always an honor. Hello to everyone in the chat. It's always a pleasure to be here on Information Man Show. I always sing your praises when I'm here, and I don't care who might be tired of hearing it, but I think you're one of the realest on YouTube, not just content creators, but as far as being, a stand-up guy. And
thank you
being here, and I'm here anytime you like.
Thank you.
Now to answer your question as to who is liable, many people are saying that Travis Scott shouldn't be sued, that Drake shouldn't be sued. It should just be Live Nation. And there's a misunderstanding about how lawsuits work. So the reason that Travis Scott and Drake are also being sued is twofold. So first, people who are in the crowd are alleging that Travis Scott and Drake saw what was happening in the crowd, and they continued to perform anyway. They saw people yelling for help. They heard people yelling for help. They could see the crowd surging. And there were even some attempts by security to help people, allegedly, while Travis Scott and Drake were still on the stage. So the first part of the allegation is that they saw these things unfolding and made no effort to stop the show. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second thing is, in the state of Texas, if you are a proprietor, a charter, a owner, or an agent of any type of coalition, business, or even just a group of individuals,
yes,
and somehow you benefit from something that caused someone's death, you can be sued. So anyone who financially could benefit from Astroworld Festival can be a defendant in that lawsuit.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question as I come on the screen with you. Would that mean, obviously, that Travis Scott would have to be dragged into this situation because he benefited financially?
Correct. And also any other party.
So let me do this here. So we got Travis Scott. I got his picture up here for everyone to see. So Travis Scott would be liable, folks, as the counselor has said, because he benefited financially from this event. Now, let me bring up this little tad bit. And here we have my man, and you know him better as Drake. What about Drake? Because Drake did gain, I think Drake was a special guest. He was a surprise guest. He's not technically was a part of the festival in terms of this is something that he's been involved in intimately, but he was like a bonus guest who came up and surprised the crowd. And I would imagine that he gets a financial benefit from this concert. Would they be able to come at him in any kind of way, especially if he in any kind of way, let's say, they could say that he sort of incited with the crowd with Travis Scott. I don't know if that's the right jargon for me to be using. What do you say, counselor?
So, yes, again, the same twofold situation would apply. It could be first that they're alleging that Drake saw what was happening and made no stop it. And it could be second that they're alleging that he benefited financially. Now, for those of you who are wondering why the financial benefit equals liability, here is why. The financial benefit triggers duty. So in colloquial terms, you or I would say you have a responsibility, right? But the law would say you have a duty. Mm-hmm. So the people who are benefiting financially from Astroworld, they have a duty to the concert goers, to the festival attendees. And one of those duties is crowd management. Safety. So that duty is what triggers liability. That is directly why financially can be liable.
Okay. But let's go back. Let me do this. I want to really go back and then run through a series of questions for you. Let me see if I can find this. Well, no, I can do this right here. Let me see. I have it set up right here. And I've got some other slides. Let me put this. Okay. So as you can see right here, Travis Scott has been convicted twice for encouraging fans to rush his stage. A man was paralyzed actually in New York in a concert in 2017. We've all have heard about this, saying that the rapper never learned his lesson at that time. A nurse at Astroworld Fest claims no one saw a man with a needle start to surge. Now, there was a police officer that they said that got pricked in the neck, and they said they had to give him, the drug that you use when someone goes, overdose or what have you. He has this history. So let's take it from there. How much of his past history, counselor, has bearing on him potentially getting hit hard? in this situation, whether it be, I would say, a civil case, not necessarily criminal?
So let me first answer a question that I see in the chat.
Okay, let me start putting those questions up too from the chat. And everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. When I have an opportunity, I'll name everybody's names. But for the purpose of this particular program today, we need to listen more. We need to all listen. I need to listen. Go ahead, counselor.
So Tiffany Jackson is asking, wouldn't the artists still have gotten paid if they had stopped the concert to protect the attendees? Remember, I said twofold. So when I say twofold, I mean two different forms of potential liability, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said one is seeing this happening and not stopping it. That's only one. The other one is the financial benefit. So Tiffany, anyone that financially benefited is game as far as liability. Now,
okay.
Let's say that, for example, I'll name another random person. Let's say, I can't even think of someone, Lil Baby. Let's say Lil Baby also performed at Astroworld Festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Baby was sued because he financially benefited. Now, is it possible that he could somehow absolve himself of liability? It's possible, but there were a lot of steps he would have to take. So, for example, even Drake or Travis Scott, right?
Yes.
Their attorneys are going to have to take a lot of steps to prove that they were not involved enough for them to be held liable. And even then, it's not guaranteed that a judge will say, okay, you're not liable, right?
Yes.
But if the only source of liability is financial benefit, then that party could hire an attorney who would come in and say, Your Honor, my client did benefit financially. We admit that. But my client had nothing to do with any of the decision making. My client didn't have the power to make decisions as far as crowd management. My client wasn't given the power to check who is being hired for security. My client wasn't given the option of asking about the safety options, right? So that attorney would have to take steps of proving that their client could not have intervened in any way to make sure the crowd was safe before the incident occurred. Because remember, the duty occurs before the incident actually occurs.
Okay.
If financial benefit is the only source of liability, then that person needs a very good attorney to prove that there was no way that they had any bearing, any decision-making, any involvement in the decisions that breached that duty, meaning they were not a part of any decision-making in regards to security, not a part of any decision-making in regards to crowd management, law enforcement, anything that could have stopped this from happening.
Okay. Can you, okay. Could you answer the question of Lady Justice? And hello to you. Good to see you over here. This is a sister who is a fixture over in the Pastel show. And Pastel will be over here soon. I'll be getting him on this program, y'all. He's got a great channel. He's been covering a lot of this stuff as well in terms of the astral world and all these different situations. If you can make out what she's asking, what about the SZAs who started the energy, felt off? I'm trying to understand.
SZA, I think her name
SZA, who started the energy, felt off, so she dipped out. Could she be labeled for that if she benefited financially?
Okay, so again, SZA would go through the same process.
SZA, okay.
Be liable if she benefited financially, and if she were named as a defendant, she would need her attorney to prove, hey, listen, all my client did was perform. She had no decision-making power. She had no involvement in the actual organizing of this festival. All she did was perform. She shouldn't be held responsible. And it will also help if SZA had some sort of conversation with someone about why she was leaving. For example,
why she was leaving.
When she left, said to Travis Scott or said to Live Nation, hey, I'm leaving because things don't look okay in that crowd, right?
Okay.
That will also help her case. So if she's ever named as a defendant, she just needs her attorney to put forth proof that she really solely performed. So although she financially benefited, she didn't have any power to stop anything that occurred.
Okay. How can I ask this question? There's video out there that at one point in time, you could see that there were people who were trying to get the attention of security, trying to get the attention. I'm not sure they were trying to get the attention of Travis Scott, the artist on stage. I got to be fair here. There was a point where he did try to make an attempt, and I'm sure the lawyers that he'll have will will say this too. There was some footage where he was trying to take the time to alert security at some point in time. But there's two different stories. You got some people saying that they tried to alert him, but he wasn't listening. Then there were people saying that the security didn't do anything when they were trying to alert them that something was wrong, that people couldn't breathe, that there was it was just going wild out there. The security it's been put out there, and I don't know how true this is, that the security, they had hired people to do security who were not either certified, they didn't have experience. They were sort of people who they just got off the street and said, hey, you want to do security? And they paid them, $15 an hour, whatever it is. When you look at Live Nation, who's responsible for the hiring of security? Because I don't think it's the artist, or am I wrong?
So very good question. More than likely, it is Live Nation that was actually responsible for hiring security, meaning it's actually Live Nation that sought out this security company and hired him, right? Again, as we know, that doesn't mean that Travis Scott and Drake and whoever won't be liable, right? But it does mean that the actual decision of who this security company was probably made by Live Nation. Now, to that point, there is something in certain areas of law that is called indemnification, right? Usually indemnification is applied in construction cases, because in construction cases, you have so many contractors and subcontractors, right? But many people use indemnification in other areas of the law. So indemnification just means A hired B to do a job. In the contract with B, A adds a little clause called an indemnification clause, which says, hey, B, it is your responsibility to keep everyone in this area safe. You are security. If something happens because B, you don't secure the area, then I, A, am not responsible. You are taking responsibility.
Wow.
It's called indemnification. Usually it's in construction cases where you'll have a general contractor having these types of clauses with some subcontractors saying, if you're the ceiling guy and the ceiling falls in, this is not my fault, right?
It's not my fault.
So I think that's to say it's possible that Live Nation had some sort of clause in their contract with the security company in which they say something similar, right? In which they say, hey, live stream security, you are responsible for crowd management. You are responsible for the safety of the attendees. If something goes wrong, I should be able to come to you to pay out the people who are harmed, because live stream security, you are responsible. We're going to find out as these lawsuits progress if Live Nation had these sorts of clauses in their contract with this security company.
Okay, now let me ask this question, counselor. And let me do this just out of respect for everybody in the chat room. Everybody in the chat room, this is the Empowered Esquire. Some of you that follow this channel pretty regularly, you've seen her over here. She is fantastic. In the description of this video, you will find a link to her channel, and go over there when you have an opportunity and subscribe. What you all should do right now, if you can, is share this video out right now in your social media. Share it in your community tab. If you're using a cellular phone, your iPhone, your Droid phone, and you just want to share it out really quickly before you share it to other areas, just click that part where it says share, and you can send it straight to Twitter right now, Facebook right now, whatever you like. If you could do that, so that, because more people need to hear this video, and this video needs to be more circulated around if possible. And I thank you, and hit the likes if you have not hit the likes. But what I want to do is I want to say peace and love to Black Anonymous. Let me say peace and love to Monica, who's come over. We got Sister Murray, who's come over here. We've got Patty D. Thank you for coming over. She says, information man, blessed to the chat. This whole thing is a heartbreak. 10-year-old 10 people lost their lives. Yes, they did. It is a shame. It is a shame. Patty P, thank you. Victoriously is over here. Thank you, sister. Thank you for coming over and sharing love to the channel. Mr. Flopper is here. What's going on, Immortal Flopper? And we got Jay Dunn in the house. Thank you, Jay Dunn. We've got Chris CC. She's a mod over in Brother Pastel show. Thank you for coming over. She's a mod over here on my channel. And we got the Rebirth. Thank you for being here. And DOD is in the house. Sister Natural is in the house. We got Over 50 and Fabulous. Let me, what I normally do for my folks is give them a nice clap when I say their name sometimes. Oh, we got the #1 grinder. We got the #1 grinder in the house. The #1 grinder in Real Talk. That's my man right there. Clap to you for coming on over. We got Beverly Pounds. This sister right here has been following me for a long time. I really appreciate her coming over. Appreciate you a lot in the #1 grinder. And we have Nat A, who's come over. Thank you. You were over here yesterday. I recognize you. Thank you for being a part of what we have going on over here. And let me see if I missed any. Looked like they had to block a troll or somebody out of the chat. These trolls, boy, I tell you. And we have a sister by the name of Hidden Jim. Thank you for being here. You're welcome for being here. And thank you for being here. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Don't be shy. Subscribe, because I do the best I can to give you great content. And then we got this brother here, Wow Williams 454. Thank you, brother, for coming over. And check this out, everybody. Oh, I can't miss this sister right here. We got Tiffany Jackson. Yes. We got Barbie girl Tina. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Hope everything is going well. Oh, we got the House of Entertainment Incorporated. Thank you, brothers, for being here. Thank you for coming over. Of course, we got Lady Justice. And thank you for coming over again. And I'm glad, hopefully, we'll see you more. Oh, and Golden Melanin. Love you. Thank you. And, oh, I can't forget Sister Courtney, if I'm saying the name, because I see her all over YouTube. We got Sister Brown. And there's somebody else I don't want to miss out on acknowledging that's here. Courtney SLP, I think, if I'm saying that correct. She's in the house too. And I hope I said that name right. I think I did. I'm looking through everything here. Appreciate everybody for coming over this evening. I told you I was going to give you a surprise show today, and the Empowered Esquires made it possible. Once again, thank you for being here again. Now, this is the question I need to ask you. They say when you buy tickets, yeah, Courtney, the SLP, there she is. Greetings. There it is. I had to do that. And then we have Net 18, Houston Fire. Should have had fire marshals on the ground inside that venue. Would have authorities to stop the show and should have had direct communication with the concert production staff. This individual makes a very good point. That's why they're getting a clap. We got Bonnie Rose. Bonnie Rose has a channel. Check out Bonnie Rose. I thank you for coming over again. And I can't forget the Wellness with Fugo Mama is in the house. Thank you for being here. All right. He's absolutely right. Let me just ask you this question, though. This whole thing from start to finish, the Empowered Esquire was set up for disaster. I'm going to tell you why. It was already out there that you had the police department, the sheriffs out there had a conversation with Travis Scott because they had some concerns about the concert, considering the fact that they had past problems. Early in the day, before this whole thing turned into chaos, there were people breaking into the place during the day, the daylight, not nighttime, meaning they had problems with people coming through the gates into the concert where people were jumping in. There might even be people that were in there who didn't even have tickets. because it was already out of control in the beginning. Once again, it goes back to security. How will a courtroom look at those aspects that you already had chaos happening early in the day that did not get handled, going into later that night when things went berserk? What do you say, counselor?
Well, that speaks to the liability most definitely of Live Nation. And that also speaks directly to the liability of Travis Scott, because that tells us that they had notice. So when I say certain legal terms, I'll kind of do, a little highlight of it so you know it's a legal term.
Yes.
Notice. So one of the legal terms and one of the elements in these types of lawsuits is notice, right? The people who were responsible, were they aware of what was going on? So this speaks directly to notice. If you have law enforcement talking to Travis Scott, talking to concerts organizers, right? Then
Yes.
you know sure that Travis Scott and Live Nation had notice. They knew that something was going on with security. They knew that security was not effective. Now we know for sure the security company is going to be on the hook, right? We know that for sure. But whenever you're filing a lawsuit, whenever you're a plaintiff, you want the deepest pockets. And I assure you, the security company is not the deepest pockets. So that's the reason that we haven't heard much about them, right? Because the deepest pockets are Live Nation, Travis Scott, and Drake. So here we have Travis Scott and Live Nation having direct notice, direct knowledge that security was not effective, that they already had ineffective safety measures. That is going to hit them hard in any lawsuit because, as I said, one of the elements that the plaintiffs need to prove is already proven for them by law enforcement. And there's no better witness than law enforcement. Now, some people may want to disagree with that, but as I said, that's a colloquial thing, right? That's in your everyday life.
Right.
But the law, if you get a law enforcement officer in one of these lawsuits testifying, I spoke to Travis Scott myself. I told him security was not efficient. I told him it wasn't safe.
Right.
That is bad. That is going to really hurt them.
And I'm going to just say this to you, counselor, and everybody listening, everyone listening, and I appreciate you all being here. Believe me, I didn't make it up or get it from some hearsay. I actually looked at an article and they actually had the officers' quotes. They said that the police department had been concerned about the upcoming concert for quite some time because of what has happened in the past. And they had a conversation with him. See, when this all comes out in the wash, like, for example, if this goes to court and if it comes out, let me just say this, that it is true that a sheriff or someone in law enforcement that was involved with this concert in one way or another, the county, what have you, the city, had some sort of conversation with Travis Scott about their concerns, could that person possibly be subpoenaed to come to court to have to testify if what I'm saying, because from what the articles that I've looked at, and I'm talking about I didn't look at no off the beacon path articles. These were legitimate news agencies. If it comes out that it is true, how devastating, you just said it'll be very devastating, but would they be subpoenaed?
They definitely could be subpoenaed. Now, they don't have to be, right? Someone can always be willing to be a part of any type of case. But if they needed to be subpoenaed, yes, they could absolutely be subpoenaed. Okay. I doubt that they would have to subpoena the law enforcement officers. The only circumstance under which I can imagine that they would have to subpoena them is if the officers needed direct paperwork to be able to get relieved from duty. For example, if they had to work that day. And so they really just needed the subpoena to turn into their superior to say, I need to go and be a witness here. So yes, they could subpoena them. But again, as I said, someone can always willingly choose without being subpoenaed. But subpoenas are definitely possible.
Okay. Let me say peace and respect to Miss Cooper. I got a lot of respect for this woman. Really nice. Glad to see you over here. Thank you for coming over. We have a ray of sunshine saying you have a choice to cancel or make changes. Very interesting point. I would agree that when you're given information, you should try to act on it. This person has here, hello, information man. Not to mention, he also encouraged the audience members to bargain or in, even if they hadn't paid. Oh, I mentioned earlier that in the beginning of this concert, before things got crazy that night, people were already coming into the concert and bypassing security measures, who didn't even probably have tickets. So it was chaotic. Matter of fact, there is video footage of people falling all over the ground. Nothing's under control. It's just totally chaotic. It set the parameter for what was going to go down, Counselor Empowered Esquire TV. Let me say this to you too. It was, like I said, we have to take everything with a grain of salt, whether it's true or not, but it was put out there in the media that there were already people that were passing out early in the day, and that the people who ran this concert, like Live Nation, were already aware that they were having people that were falling out on the ground, that things were already chaotic. If that's true, that's another piece, what you say, piece of evidence that can be used in a court of law to say, you know what, they were completely liable.
Absolutely. That's another piece of evidence that shows that they had notice that something was wrong in regards to safety and in regards to the well-being of the concert goers. And I'll add to that, because you had mentioned earlier information, man, and it just hit me like I didn't answer that. You had mentioned something about Travis Scott's past.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, in the past, Travis Scott has actually been convicted of disorderly conduct. He was at one of his past concerts. He was convicted. Yeah, that's right. At one of his past concerts, there was an incident where the court found him to be inciting a riot. Now, I don't know exactly what was said at that concert, but I've seen many, many clips of Travis Scott in numerous concerts in which he unequivocally tells people to fight. For example,
wow.
Oh, yes. I mean, I was amazed because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't listen to Travis Scott.
Mm-hmm. I don't either.
No. So I didn't know that he was this problematic. So one of the clips that I saw, he decides to crowd surf, which apparently he does a lot. So he was crowd surfing. He made it back to the stage, and he gets back on stage and he says, someone tried to steal my shoe. And somehow he decides that there's this random man in the crowd, and he decides that that is the man who tried to take his shoe off. Mm-hmm. How you know who it was crowd surfing? Beyond me, but okay. He gets back on the stage. He says, that guy tried to take my shoe off. And he turns to the guy and says, you want to be a thief? You're a thief?
Oh, wow.
And then he says to the crowd, beat him up, jump him, get it. Because the man allegedly tried to steal his shoe. Wow. So these are the kinds of things. And then Travis Scott, on his own social media, in past concerts, he's posted pictures of people who were either beat up in the crowd or who were injured in the crowd, and, you know, makes funny statements like, oh, this guy took a hit in the crowd. Oh, good job. You know.
Wow.
So, right. So he is allegedly someone who likes to incite fights and riots and violence at his concert. Now, I always say that propensity is not evidence of guilt or evidence of liability. And what I mean by that is someone cannot say that just because you did something in the past means you did it today, right? That's
okay.
Not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But the caveat to that is establishing a pattern. Because a pattern isn't someone pointing to one thing you did in the past and now holding you accountable for it for the rest of your life, right? A pattern is someone showing that you do the same kind of thing in the same kind of way all the time. And that can be used against you. So It is very likely that Travis Scott's past behavior of inciting riots at his past concerts, his disorderly conduct conviction, his social media posts where he's praising people that got beat up in his, crowd at his concert. Yeah, it's very likely that those things will be used to prove that he has a pattern of behavior when it comes to inciting riots, inciting violence, and that he may have done that again here.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I have a series of, these are legal. Now, I did some research, and these are legal type questions, and I'm going to flip them on the screen at the bottom and get your thoughts because, of course, every state has its own, I don't know if I'm saying this right, jurisdiction and their own laws that they follow that may be different from one state or another. But let me put this up here real quick. Scott could still be held liable in civil court, but could avoid paying damages due to Texas civil law. So, I'm not going to sit up here and say I know Texas law. These are just questions I'm pondering here. I'm not pondering. These are some. There's all different legal minds that are giving their opinions on this, right? I don't know what Texas civil law is. Now they're saying now the question is that he could definitely be hit civilly. I don't know. Let me ask you this. When we look at the scales of justice, is there a heavier chance that Scott can be hit more so on the civil side rather than the criminal? Because to be criminal, you have to have had intent to do harm to people, right?
So I would definitely say that I find it much more likely that he be held liable civilly as opposed to criminally. From what I know, in this past festival, he wasn't as problematic as he has been in the past, right? So I don't think that he'll be charged criminally. I think civilly, it's very likely that he'll be found liable. And I have to say, I'm not barred in the state of Texas, right? So I don't hold myself out to be any sort of expert in the state of Texas law. But I did, of course, because I covered this on my channel previously. So
yes.
To check that out. So
yes, definitely check it out, folks. Like I said, in the description of this video is a link to her channel. So definitely give her support as well. Go right ahead, counselor.
So I did, of course, before speaking about it on my channel, do my due diligence and read the Texas law, right? So I've actually looked at the Texas code. It's actually, I pulled it up just to make sure I had it as well for today. So
fantastic.
Called the Civil Practice and Remedies Code, and it's Title 4 of that code, right? So for the state of Texas, if you go to Title 4 of their code, you go to Chapter 71, it is their entire chapter on wrongful death. Now, if you look at that statute, it is, in my humble opinion, very clear that Travis Scott could be held liable and that he could pay damages. So, for example, they say directly in the statute that the statute covers corporations, proprietors, charters, and their agents. So what that means is Live Nation is covered. Anyone who worked for Live Nation is covered. Anyone who Live Nation hired is covered, right?
It's covered.
By way of that, anyone involved in the organization of the festival. So that's how they get Travis Scott. And as I said, the other realm of liability where you see something happening and don't stop it, that's totally different, right? That's not about you organizing the concert. That's about you seeing what's happening and not taking any steps. That's direct knowledge. But when we talk about the secondary knowledge and who organized the concert and everything of that nature, Travis Scott can definitely be considered to be someone who was a direct proprietor of this entire festival, and or someone who was acting as an agent of Live Nation.
Wow. Now, this is the question I have to ask you. I'm going to put this up here and you tell me. It's right here. It says you need something more, because you said more so he'll be charged civilly versus criminal, right? But in order to be charged criminally, everyone, you need something more than a tragic accident to get to the criminal charges. Is that right or is that false? In order to get to criminal charges, it has to be more than something just like a tragic accident. Is that correct, counselor, or false?
Well, in a way, that's correct, right? So for criminal charges, you need some higher level of responsibility. I think it is possible, while in my humble opinion, it's a stretch, I think it maybe is possible that someone is charged with manslaughter for these deaths, but I don't see this ever rising to a level of a murder in the first degree or murder in the second degree, right? I think that's just too high of a level of responsibility, right?
Okay.
But manslaughter, it's possible that maybe someone may be criminally charged with manslaughter for being reckless or being negligent in the care of this crowd, right? And so, for example, a more kind of popular, and I hate to use that word. Oh, you guys hear Mac? If you're from
got the little doggy.
Mac, you want to come say hi?
Come say hi to everybody.
Come here, boy. Come here.
Say hi to everybody. All right, that's Mac.
Hi. Since you want to bark and interrupt the live, he has on his travel shirt since he's been traveling. So,
Cute
for
doggy.
manslaughter, a more popular form of manslaughter is if you're in some sort of traffic accident.
Mhm.
And so you don't take any active steps to harm anyone. You don't have the intent to harm anyone. You didn't premeditate harming anyone, but somehow your driving ends up in someone's death. You could be charged with manslaughter. The same thing for operating some type of heavy machinery, right? Sometimes people have been charged with manslaughter. Again, no premeditation, no intent to harm anyone, but their operation of this machinery caused someone's death. So when you apply that to this concert, to Astroworld, it could happen. Someone in relation to this concert could be charged with manslaughter from the perspective of you didn't have intent, you didn't premeditate, but you neglected to do something you should have done. And that led to someone's death.
Okay, let me put this up here and get your thoughts on this. Prosecutors would need to prove that Scott had conscious disregard for human life or for the safety and well-being of others to charge him with a manslaughter related to what we're talking about, with a manslaughter due to the event. So the part right here, conscious disregard, if I'm saying that correct. What in a legal term, what the hell does that really mean? Conscious. I mean, I understand what it means, but legally it may have a different phrase to it.
So let me start by cautioning everyone against this. Every state has their own manslaughter statute. Okay, so you can't just Google manslaughter. Every state has their own manslaughter statute, and believe me, the language varies from state to state. So let's first say that.
State. Okay.
So if we were to assume that this is correct for the state of Texas, right? If we were to just say that, which I'm not sure, but if we were to assume, right? Then conscious disregard means I know that something could happen, but I ignored the fact that something could happen. So again, it doesn't mean that I want someone to be harmed. It doesn't mean that I'm actively trying to harm someone, but I know that someone could get hurt. That's the disregard part, right?
Right.
And in that knowledge, I still did nothing. That's the conscious part.
Wow. Let me ask you this question here, because we talked about this on my channel and you hear people talking about this. What about, when you go to a concert and they tell you in the back of the ticket in small writing that you can hardly ever see unless you've got a magnifying glass or something like that, right? And it'll say, hey, we're not responsible for anything that happens, to your person. You come in here at your own risk. There was some rumors, and I don't know how true this is, that on the back of the tickets that they sort of had their own little way of trying to clause themselves out of it. Is that, when they put those sort of statements in the back of tickets, is it really lawful in the court of law? Does it really hold up against law? Is it just something that they put in the back of those tickets to make you think that you got no recourse against them?
So, whenever you go to a concert, and it's kind of the same with an amusement park, right? Those, that fine print, that fine writing, they have that on there and they call it a liability waiver. Okay. And so many people think that you're totally waiving your right to sue them for anything, and that is not true. So first example, if you've ever heard of anyone who passed away because of roller coaster malfunction, you will see that they had a wrongful death lawsuit and probably their family was given quite a bit of money, right? And you would think that they couldn't sue because in the fine print of the liability waiver, it says things like that. So you think, I signed a waiver, I can't sue. No. Many of those waivers do not hold up in court, and here is why. A person, a corporation, any of these, as I said, entities who financially benefit from your presence, they cannot legally absolve themselves of all responsibility. The law does not view it that way. So they can give you this waiver, and as Infoman said, it's on the back of your ticket. But I guarantee you, an effective attorney will get that waiver thrown out. A corporation cannot make money off of you and then just absolve themselves of your safety. They cannot do that. And the reason is that the court does not allow agreements that are, and this is another legal term, unconscionable. That's the legal word. But really, unconscionable just means unfair, not right, wrong. And so the court views it as unconscionable for this megalith corporation, Live Nation, right, to take your money for a festival, let you into the festival, cause your death because they didn't have proper security, and then tell you that it's not their fault. The court views that as unconscionable. So yes, you may see a lot of things written in these waivers, but a lot of times the court does not acknowledge these waivers.
Okay. I was going to bring this up for everybody a little bit later, but I think because you made a good statement that any situation in which you as an artist or someone is making a profit at some public event like this, you are open to a lawsuit. Well, let me show you something, sister. I want to bring something to your attention and everybody out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take over the screen, take a look at this in just a minute. I'm going to put this up here. Give me 1 minute, everybody. It's not going to take that long. Let me show you all something that kind of blew me away. And here it is. And let me take something off of there real quick, if I can. All right. Now, guess what's happened to Travis Scott, ladies and gentlemen? Travis Scott is actually making money off of this situation. Now, I'm not saying that he is being diabolical. He purposely planned it all. What I'm saying is because of this incident, when we talk about cancel culture, he's going to be canceled, because I've been saying myself, this may be the beginning of his career. No, folks. He's gotten more popular. Travis Scott Astro album sales have gone up 15K. Now you may say, hey, that ain't a lot of money. That's off of an album that's actually, I think, 2 or 3 years old, folks. That's pretty big in the music business. This week, its sales streams have increased to 40% since the Astroworld Festival happened. This is a damn shame.
Tell the truth.
He has actually doubled in his social media following. So the man is doubling economically with his album sales on an album that ain't even his most recent album. He's doubled. It's doubled up to a 40% in streaming of his music. Everything has gone up. So actually, since this incident happened with Travis Scott and the Astroworld and Live Nation, his profits from a financial point of view have doubled, folks. I'm telling you the truth. You can look this up yourself. This guy on here that I took from his Twitter page is a guy who works in the music industry. You can look all this up yourself. His profits have gone up. And like the old saying, sometimes bad publicity can be great publicity for people. You hear what I'm saying? This is the truth. So you would think a bad incident like this, where you've got children hurt, children that have died. It's up to 10 people that have died in this situation, which is I got to say, a damn shame. You would think out of this situation, folks, that it would hurt him economically, that people would move away. But no, people are going towards Travis Scott. It has helped his album sales. It's boosting old music that he has produced. It has helped his social media sphere and his social media popularity, should I say. Now, the reason why I bring that up is I come back to the counselor and I bring her back on here with me is because the counselor made a very good point. When you are profiting, you're making money off of a venture like this, you are more likely to be hit with the lawsuit or civil case. Now, I brought that up, counselor, because he's worth more now after this incident. How could that play into when it goes to court and people are looking for damages when people that have lost their family members that have got hurt, and then they look and do research and find out this man has profit. I'm not saying that Travis Scott woke up that day and say, yeah, let something bad happen so I can profit. No, I'm not saying that. But it kind of shows you the mindset, the psychology, and I work in mental health, the psychology of the mindset of people. That even though this thing happened and he was a part of it, I'm not saying he was a part of the whole craziness of it because he really hypes up his crowd. He has doubled in his profits, in his popularity. What do you say, counselor?
Well, just as a human being, before I give the legal answer,
yes,
I'm disheartened, although I'm not surprised. In no way am I saying, in no way am I not acknowledging that he's innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yes. But we have to be fair about that. Yes.
I've seen the clips of the way that he operates at his concerts, and just knowing the things that I've seen, I'm disheartened that this has caused some sort of surge in popularity. But on a whole, I am disheartened about where we are headed as a society. And, I've gotten on my soapbox about this before on my own channel. It really breaks my heart to know that we live in a country where there are some people who are so wealthy and we have children who go to bed hungry.
Right.
We have people on the street. We have African-American homeowners losing their homes in record numbers since this pandemic. And we have some extremely wealthy African-American celebrities whom have money they couldn't spend in 50 million lifetimes. What if all of these extremely rich athletes, actresses, singers, whoever would create a foundation just to help people in the country, just to help the regular person, call it whatever, call it the Sisterhood Brotherhood Foundation, right? And each of them put $100,000 into that foundation. They wouldn't even feel that money as it left their pocket. $100,000 to them is like $1. And that could be to help some of the people who are homeless, to feed some of the children. There are children in the USA who go to bed hungry. That could be used for some of the homeowners of color that are losing their homes in record numbers, right? So the society we live in on a whole is really, really, really disheartening. I'll say that. Now, to the legal portion of that, there is a kind of old cause of action, and it's called unjust enrichment. Now, from what I know in the state of Texas, it's not used very often, but it does exist. And unjust enrichment says someone should not be able to benefit from someone else being harmed. If you're unsure or unaware of how a lawsuit is filed, very often a lawsuit has multiple counts. So, for example, one of these plaintiffs could, in their lawsuit, say, okay, one count is the wrongful death of my family member because of your negligence, but the second count is the unjust enrichment of Travis Scott, because I can prove that he made more money after my family member passed away at his festival, and that the popularity of my family member's passing caused him to make more money, and that is unjust enrichment, meaning he garnered more money because my family member passed away at our expense, and he should be held accountable for that. So that is called unjust enrichment. It's a very, very old cause of action. And as I said, to my knowledge, it's not common in Texas, but they could argue it.
Question I have for you. This is the question I have for you, and I've been saying it on my channel, and that's why I'm so glad to have you here. When you look at the concert and you say what Travis Scott, Live Nation, what they did is they sort of tried to turn this into like what you would see at a circus. You got big bobbleheads, you got the big heads, this sort of stuff, you can see it on my screen, folks. You got the big bobbleheads, and in this picture, you actually have children sort of walking with their parents. You know, you have people with backpacks. You got a daughter with a father. He sort of gave it this circus absence fair, you know, Barlin Bailey circus, whatever. You know, come one, come all. It's a mush pit. It's no seats. It's just come in and have a wild time. I'm going to give you an experience. He's known for the rebellion. I'm going to make the audience rebel and what have you, and all this sort of nonsense and everything, ladies and gentlemen. And you have kids that were harmed in this. And I'm saying to myself, and many people have said this, what were kids doing in an environment like this, 8 and 9 and 10 years old? Why would parents let their kids go into this environment where obviously there was drug use, alcohol use, it was craziness? And I know that it can kind of cloak you in because Travis Scott, Live Nation, whoever's responsible for the design of how, I'm pretty sure Travis Scott had some involvement in the design of how it was going to look because he's been doing this for a while. The question is, could the parents be held accountable for allowing, let's say the parent let their 9-year-old go off with like the older brother, for example, or a friend of the family, or a uncle, or what have you, or parents brought their kids there, or what have you? Is there any liability on parents who put their kids in this, minor children, in an environment that I feel is more of an adult environment when it comes to hardcore concert like this versus the festival stuff that they could do during the day, you know, but then at night when it gets into this hardcore festival type thing? What are your thoughts, counselor?
So my thoughts, again, I'll two-tier it, right? My thoughts just as a human, as a person, I'm not a parent yet, but if I were a parent, let me tell you, I would not have brought Mac to Astroworld Festival.
Okay.
So I guarantee.
All right. No Mac. All right. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
That I'm super protective, right? I have to acknowledge that just with the way that I treat my dog, I can see I'm going to be that mama, you know, but I don't see myself bringing my child to Astroworld Festival, you know, for a number of reasons. One, we're still in a whole panorama, pan pizza, you know, whatever term you want to use.
Right.
Right. So first, that's the first reason. But the second reason also being that those sorts of festivals that are very open in that way, and there's kind of, you know, standing and not necessarily seating and things like that, it's going to be harder for a child to navigate. So when you think in terms of height and size and things like that, even someone who's shorter like myself and smaller stature like myself, those types of events are difficult for me to attend. You know, I really get lost in the crowd and get, you know, crammed in between people. And so if you picture that, imagine an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old in that kind of crowd trying to navigate that kind of crowd. So as a human being, I wouldn't have done it, right? But que sera, sera, right?
Right.
Now, legally, there are legal terms that are implicated when you talk about the parents and bringing their children to this kind of event. So the two terms are contributory negligence and comparative negligence. Both are terms that are used by defendants very regularly to try to lessen their liability. Now, one of them is an actual full defense, right? The other one is just, you know, can you limit my liability some, right? And again, it varies from state to state. So very often contributory negligence is, I shouldn't be as responsible because the plaintiff wasn't being careful. That's contributory negligence. Comparative negligence is usually used as a defense in which they're saying, hey, no, I'm not liable. You know, you are liable because you should have been careful. So it's likely that the defendants in these wrongful death suits will try to use one, both, a combination of, right, whatever better applies in Texas. Now, to my knowledge, Texas does have contributory negligence, right? But like I said, the defense counsels will use whatever element, whatever type that they think will fit their case better. But it's very likely that they will argue as a part of their defense that the parents of these children are somewhat responsible, and that the court should consider that when they're considering whether or not Live Nation and Travis Scott and Drake and everybody else is liable. The reason being, you can already see they have at least two arguments to make. Their first argument is, just from looking at the setup of this festival, as a parent, you should already be able to know, if you're just a reasonable parent, that this is not going to be safe for children. You should already have in the back of your mind, I'm taking a risk here, bringing my child into this kind of setting because of what I explained about how open it is, and when you're a small person in a large crowd. And that's basic common sense.
Right, because a child would be depending on the guidance of their parent. So if a parent can't use proper judgment to understand Travis Scott has these really wild concerts and that there was problems in the past. But this is what I want to say. Okay, there's liability for the parents, but could you put liability on Houston or the county for approving? Because first of all, let me stop right there and go first things first. You have to get permits to be approved by the city, right? In the county, right? City or the county, right?
City and the county are going to have some level of liability, but you have to remember that they require protection. So there are more elements you have to meet to try to sue a city or a county or a state than just your average citizen. They have a higher level of immunity. So yes, they may be named as defendant, but they may find 50 million ways to absolve themselves, right? They may say, hey, in our permit, we gave them directions that they didn't follow. They say we gave them warnings they didn't listen to. And because they have that higher level of immunity, they may not actually end up being on the hook.
Wow. Let me go ahead and do this. Let me say peace and respect to Shauna Kim. We got Raw B in the house. We got Sister Erica. We got a lot of good folks coming in the house and supporting the channel tonight. I really appreciate all of you. I give everybody a clap. Brother Keith is in the house. That's my main man. What's going on, Johnson? We do that. We're both part of Brother Tim Black's program and what he does over there on his channel. We got Raw B, Chris CC, the House of X of X Entertainment is here. Tiffany Jackson, Hidden Gem, Courtney, SLP. I said Raw B before. Good to see you over here. Mr. Jacko 420. Just a lot of great people that have come into the chat room. I really appreciate everyone. If I didn't call anyone out, it's nothing personal. We got Kate in the house. We've got giving love and receiving love is here. It should have been an age requirement. That's what I'm trying to get to. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So if the city or the county has to be involved in permits, shouldn't the city or be responsible for saying to Live Nation, whoever's putting this concert on, hey, you know what? You can have, let me say it like this. You can have the kids in your amusement park area, but you can't have them in the late night music festival because of the nature of the festival. I mean, of the music, because it was a festival. So that's why they were able to draw the kids in. Shouldn't they have done something like that and just said, okay, the kids can go to the festival stuff, but they can't go in there for the late night concert where it's going to get more adult like.
So let me first say, and I hope you don't mind info, but
go right ahead. I don't mind.
First say hello to Rob Be Privileged. I'm going to respond to your email. I have 5011 backed up emails. So I want to make sure I tell you that. And then also before I forget info, the shirt that I'm wearing is from a black. Oh,
let me put you front and center so you can show that to everybody. Let me take that off the screen. Go right ahead.
Own company. It was a gift, and they are a client of mine.
Wow.
The company is Colorful Root. Yeah,
Colorful Root.
And this is designs. They make really beautiful clothing. And the owner also is an optician, and she makes beautiful glasses. These aren't hers, but she does, right? So just wanted to give them a shout out because they're the reason that I'm wearing this really cool,
Okay. Well,
entrance
let
shirt.
them know I'm always looking to promote people stuff. If they looking for people to promote, I love to promote anything that's black made and produced. We should be promoting.
Thank
That's
you.
just the way I see it. I have no problem with that.
So now
Let me see.
um,
Yes.
so there's a difference between something that you should do and something that you have to do. And whenever you're talking about matters of the public, there are always industry standards. So,
Mm-hmm.
get another legal term for everyone here, right? Industry standards. And industry standard just means what is the norm in this industry? So, in the concert going festival industry, it's the norm for the city, the county, whomever, to give the festival organizers a cap as far as how many people can attend. So it's norm for the city of Houston to say, "Hey, Astro World Festival, you can only hold 50,000 people in that venue. If you go even one person over, we're going to shut it down." That's the industry standard. But it is not the norm. It is not the standard in that industry for the city or the county to put an age gap on what age can attend a festival. Now, I imagine they would have to do that if there was something explicitly adult about the nature of it, right? So if they were giving free alcohol to every person who walked through the door, or perhaps if it had some sort of exotic dancer element to it, then you could say, okay, yeah, the city or the county had to give them an age gap or an age requirement. Let's say that. But none of those things existed here. And so within just the realm, the industry of festivals, that is not an industry standard.
Okay. Let me ask you this question here. Let me go to this question. There was talk that Travis Scott has been putting on this festival for the last couple of years. Of course, there was trouble the last 2 years. Nothing to this magnitude, but there was trouble. There was issues. Plus the fact that he has the history that we talked about earlier, where people have gotten, there was a man who I read who got hurt. He has been in situations where he's told his audience, jump over the security barriers. I don't care. Come on, come on. He's roused them up. But they say he's a fixture in this Astroworld Festival, that he's from Houston. He's been doing this for a while. He has a reputation already. And that I read somewhere that it's not that he was just a performer, Empowered Esquire TV, but he was also an organizer of this festival. So he was not only, he had a dual role. He was a performer. He had some organized investment in the festival. Sort of had, it was basically his brand to a certain degree, because you had all these things, the colors, the big head of him, all these things sort of representing his symbolism, right? And of course, we can get into all the other stuff. There's people who feel that there's some demonic things about it. I personally feel that there is some weird things about the music business and the messaging and the imaging, but we're not going to get into that right now. But if it is true that he is more involved as a partner in this concert, other than just coming on stage and singing, that we got the financial part, but if he is actually an organizer, meaning he has some ownership in this, how bad is that going to be for Travis Scott?
So to be clear, my understanding is that Travis Scott is an organizer.
Uh-oh.
That is my understanding.
Uh-oh. There go the lightning. Uh-oh.
In partnership with Live Nation, Travis Scott is an organizer of Astroworld. That's my understanding. Now, of course, I always say I could be wrong, right? But that's my understanding. And as we know, that means that he's even more likely to be liable, because now you have two lanes. You have one, they're alleging that you were on stage while people were screaming for help and dying and you did nothing. And then two, you're actually a part of the monolith that organized this thing.
Yes. from your experience, from what you've seen legally, how will Travis, because we know that the Live Nation is an entertainment company. Entertainment companies have insurance. They have sort of things that they can protect themselves with. We know that people will throw people under the bus and try to save their life, whether it be the company at their own expense, at the expense of the artist, or the artist may at the expense of the entertainment company may do what he got to do to disengage himself from them. All sort of things are probably, I mean, there's going to probably be all kind of wheels and deals behind the scene. We don't know that, but I'm just saying when it comes to business, we know that people want to survive in business and they'll do what they got to do to survive. But in all, if it is true that Travis Scott is not just just a performer in this festival, but he's also a very heavily involved in the organizing of the concert. And I just told you that his career in terms of his numbers and popularity has just gone up. How do you think legally it could either he could be devastated? Meaning it could really, could it have an impact on his career going forward? Maybe that's what I should be asking.
So legally, this definitely can have an impact on his career going forward. So for those of you who don't know, all of these types of events, and this is another thing that you may not know, and by you, I don't mean you info man, because I know, you're super knowledgeable about almost everything. But a lot of these events and the performers and performances are insured. So that's what many people don't know. So I could imagine that moving forward, Travis Scott will have an issue touring. Because whenever you have a tour as a musical artist, you always want to have insurance in case something happens. And an insurance company that would insure a tour is just like your insurance company that insures your car, right? If they see you get into car accidents all the time, then, Liberty Mutual or Geico, they're thinking, I don't want to insure this person. They're dangerous.
Right.
Same thing applies to Travis Scott. If Travis Scott would like to tour anytime soon, he may find himself having to totally bankroll his own situation completely, because insurance companies may be thinking, I don't want to insure a Travis Scott tour. It's too dangerous.
Too much trouble for it. It's not worth the trouble.
Right. Or he may have to do what Cardi B did for a while, because Cardi B was deemed uninsurable when she decided to have a baby right before she was supposed to go on tour, and then had to cancel the whole tour, and they did not like that. And you'll notice that for years after that, Cardi B just had to do a show here, a show there, a performance here or there. She did not go on tour because she was not insurable. So he may end up doing that. He may end up having to just do a show here, a show there, but not actually tour.
Another question I want to ask you related to this situation. It went from 8 people that were reported dead, and now we have it at 10. There are people who are saying that they tried to get Travis Scott's attention. Or no, let me say this. There's video footage, and I've seen the video footage where there was a moment where Travis Scott was trying to get security, right? And can we make the educated guess or statement that, Travis Scott, well, wait a minute. Whoa, I'm walking into something now. If Travis Scott was an organizer of this concert, would he also be liable for the poor security, as was reported in news, that there were people there that were not very well trained? Of course, you get off-duty police officers. There were people saying that the security didn't do anything when things were going down, and that there seemed to be people there that were they weren't trained. Matter of fact, they were saying that there were people that were supposed to be security that were actually dancing and getting, they're dancing and grooving to the music and not paying attention to what was going on. Now, the reason why I can say that, because I watched some of the video footage and it did seem that people were doing that. So if he's an organizer, because you could say, well, if he's not an organizer, it's on the entertainment company to deal with the security, right? Not Travis Scott. But if he's an organizer, wouldn't that also come down on him to make sure he's got proper security? I'll stop there.
No, you're right on point. That's part of the liability. Proper security, proper crowd management, all of those things is part of the liability of anyone that was involved in, or let me not say anyone, of the organizers of Astroworld. Yes,
Okay.
part of it. You mentioned that someone said Travis Scott tried to call security. Remember the 2 lanes. So that helps him in lane 1, right, where he's a performer who sees what's happening and he's calling for security. Yeah. But lane 2, where he's an organizer who benefited, that doesn't help. That doesn't help him at all.
Right. And I had a chance to see the footage. That was he was still performing, and then for just a short split second or a moment, he was trying to call for security, and then he continued the show. But there were still people yelling, "Hey, we got problems out here." Okay. And then there's a moment where you saw a person's body being glided by people. People were moving this body. Well, come to find out, that person was dead. They were moving a dead person's body through the crowd. When you look at the video, you know how when people go to these concerts and they get wild, and they pick up people and they throw them in the air, and this person's body was being moved around through the crowd and came out in the wash that the individual was deceased. You see how crazy it was going on out there? While you got people on the stage bumping their gums, rapping. I mean, it's not funny, but it's crazy.
I'm sitting here stunned.
Look, I got to give credit to my man Pastel, the Pastel Show, because he did a video where he showed the footage of the person's body and came out the wash that person was already deceased when they were sort of moving their body away from the crowd was moving them to, I guess, to safety. And then there were people out there getting high. There was an officer who dropped to the floor because he got hit with a needle. So everything went wrong with this concert from start to finish. And what's up, One Man Band? Thank you for coming over, brother. Thank you for coming over. I see you out there. And I see everybody. Tiffany Jackson. We got the Creed Man. We got Be The Difference Clothing. Thank you for being here. We got Keedy in the house, G in the house, Debbie D is in the house. I appreciate everybody that's come over. Do me the favor again. If you're looking at this on your cell phone, click share into your Twitter and your Facebook. Share it in all your social media and share this in your community tab if you are a content creator, folks. I really would appreciate that. I thank you for being here tonight. I told you it was going to be a great program, informative program. The Empowered Esquire, she never fails in telling us the truth.
Tell the truth.
And I want everybody, as soon as you can, to go into the description of this video, click the link that says Empowered Esquire's YouTube channel, subscribe, give her support. And by the way, mods, if you have not, because I know some of the mods have dropped your link in there, but mods, if you could, do it again. She's giving us great information. This sister is on vacation and she's taking the time to provide us with valuable information. See, you can go to a lot of different channels, and I do it too, where we speculate about stuff. But today on this broadcast, you're not getting speculation, folks. You're getting legal information that gives you an insight into what possibly could happen legally. Okay? Once again, we don't know the laws of Texas. We don't know Texas law. I don't know Texas law, so we can't completely speak to how all their laws work in Texas. But we do know that this is not going to end good for either party. I don't think it's going to end very well. Sister Empowered Esquire, counselor, is there anything that you feel that people need to know about this circumstances, or people need to know overall when they go to concerts? And what's going on, Susan Tribe? Thank you for being here too. And Erica and everybody. Is there something that people need to know about this case that we haven't touched on that you have noticed? And then as another bonus, what do you think people need to do in being cautious when going to these kind of concerts? Go right ahead.
So the first thing I would say that I've noticed that I really haven't heard anyone discussing is that there are special, I'll say, elements that were at work at Astroworld. And when I say that, I mean concerts and festivals happen all the time. Yet still, this kind of thing does not happen all the time. Over on my channel, when we discussed it, we watched a press conference that the city of Houston actually held. And the mayor was saying, hey, listen, we have these types of events all the time. And we haven't had this kind of issue in 40 years. So in 40 years of the city of Houston having these types of concerts, sporting events, meetings, conferences, all sorts of things, they have not had this happen. And it's very, very simple. Basic common sense tells you that something went wrong. And if something went wrong, that means that Live Nation and Travis Scott breached their duty. It's that simple. Something went wrong because of something they didn't do. There's a reason that we have concerts all the time, and this does not happen all the time.
Let me ask you this question. Wow, that's powerful what you said. I need to do some more research because I wonder if Live Nation has had other problems with their concerts in the past. I don't know if they got a track record or this is just one situation that, well, let me say this. We do know that Astroworld's festival has had problems over the last 2 years prior to this third annual festival, right? We know that there's a track record with this particular event. Doesn't mean that Live Nation always has problems, but they've had problems with this event. This time, it's almost like it was revving up. Right. They had a problem the first year. Second year, they had some problems. And now it's a crescendo where all hell broke loose now, where now you have people not only who just get hurt or maybe a little drunk or high, but now you've got kids and adults no longer here with us. And that once again, to me, is the craziest thing about this. And the other thing I said before is that Travis Scott is actually gaining some benefit financially. I'm not saying that he purposely set it up that way, but it's turning out to be that way for his record sales and what have you. Let me ask you, this is a personal question now, counselor. I hate to bring this up. I hate to have to say this. Let me just say this. And I've said this, everybody know, I've said this before. When you go to like R&B concerts or classical concerts or grown folks concerts, this stuff don't kind of happen at, Isaac Hayes, God bless his soul, or Ron Heisley or Beverly Mays. Grown folks go to those concerts and they dance and they have a good time, and ain't nobody out there, doing this kind of stuff. They might pass, people may pass a little marijuana, but we know that rap concerts, well, let's start with punk rock, and we got rock and roll. When I was a kid growing up in the 80s, you always had rock concerts where people were banging around and things would happen and go bad, right? You had The Who in 1979, where The Who had a concert, and I think it was 11 people died, right? So in rock and roll concerts, yeah. I think I might even have the description of that situation. Let me see if I got that in my slider here for everybody to see that one again. Let me see right here. Give me a minute, folks. Yeah, in 1979, The Who had a concert where there was about 11 people who lost their life because it got wild. And there's been concerts out of the country where you had 100 people die in some stadiums in Europe. Just crazy stuff that has happened. Oh, here it is, right here. In 1979, 11 people died in a scramble to enter a Cincinnati, Ohio concert by The Who. There was a soccer stadium in England where a human crunch in 1989 led to nearly 100 deaths. So The Who is one of so these rock concerts and punk rock concerts for years had stuff where people were getting hurt, right? And then when rap came along and we had the rap concerts and you had the gangster rap and all of that, everyone looked at rap concerts, and the rappers are having problems in their concert and things are happening. At the same time, not lumping the punk rock and roll concerts in with the same type of behavior. And unfortunately, gangster rap type concerts, and I'm not saying that Travis Scott is gangster rap, but these kind of concerts where it's high energy, things are out of control, they always seem to have this, they always seem to potentially have this element of potential violence happening. And so I'm saying that to say that people have to use caution. Certain genres of music or types of music can solicit certain negative behaviors. If you've got a host like Travis Scott saying, jump over this, jump over that, bang up, bang, bang, because they kind of label him as the rap punk rocker, right? Because he likes his crowd to bang against each other. I'm going to stop there. I'm all over the place with that one, but it just amazes me.
So Infoman, check the PC when you get a chance, the side chat. You know what chat I'm
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And I sent that about 10 minutes ago, by the way.
Okay. It's all right. We're gonna wrap it up. I know you got your short time. It's
But
okay.
I will say, as far as, artists and, different types of music inciting different types of things, I think, that is just part of the course. You know what I mean? You'll notice that different types of music elicit different types of feelings. So here's something that I recently went through personally.
Okay.
And wait, before I say that, someone in the chat said that No Limit is having a reunion tour. How did I miss that? How did I miss a No Limit reunion tour? I have to find.
Are you serious? No Limit is having a.
No Limit is having a reunion tour. I have to check that out.
Oh wow.
Back to what I was saying. So I recently had an incident in my personal life. There are certain artists that I call like my ratchet artist, right? I don't listen to them all the time, but I listen to them when I'm working out or in the car, things like that, right?
Yes.
Two of those main artists for me are usually 2 Chainz and Meg Thee Stallion.
Okay.
Two of my favorite ratchet artists. Like I said, I only listen to them when I'm working out or when I'm in the car. But recently I found myself, and again, this is a confession, I found myself just like leisurely listening to Meg Thee Stallion. Just, woke up this morning, listening to it. And while I would bop to it and enjoy it, I started to feel that I was angrier. I started to feel that I was more dissatisfied, just in general, just dissatisfied with things in my life, dissatisfied with, things around me, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I saw in my thought process and in my feelings a shift the more and more and more I listened to that music. Now, what I would typically listen to, like for me, everyday music is Brian McKnight, Mariah Carey, more recent artists like Giveon, I think is how you say his name, right? Another artist, Snow Allegra. So very R&B, neo-soul type of music is my usual all the time. Whereas, like I said, I started listening to Meg Thee Stallion all the time. So when I started, and mind you, I already could sense that something had happened because I wanted to listen to her all the time. I couldn't even explain why I felt so called to listen to her music every single day.
Yes.
So once I started to sense the anger and the dissatisfaction, I said, I'm done. Even working out, I stopped listening to it.
Right, because I think someone made a good point that music has different vibrations, and music is the only thing that can enter your self-conscious mind without your permission, ladies and gentlemen. And not to get super Bible up here, but remember, what was one of the powers and gifts that Satan had? Music, that hypnotic ability. So I'm not trying to, because there's some people that can debate this and say, hey, you shouldn't say that music is going to make, yes, music and different vibrations and energies that you're putting out in the music can solicit in your self-conscious mind thoughts, angry thoughts, happy thoughts. But think about it. When we listen to music, like when I listen to old school music, the oldies, and it puts you in a certain mood. There's love music that puts you in a mood for love. There's music that relax you. And then there's music that charges you up. And we got to just keep that in mind. And that's kind of Travis Scott's style. He likes to charge people up. And I personally believe, this is not a legal opinion, of course, just a personal opinion, that I think his style of how he handles his concerts and his music and how he charges his crowd up, I think it does get the crowd in a frenzy to do things, because people do things in groups, in group think, that they wouldn't do as individuals. When they get around a lot of people, they start doing wild stuff that they wouldn't do. And when you got the music bumping and you got your favorite artist talking about do this and do that, yeah, and rah, people get into that. And let's keep it real. People have really tough lives and they want to escape from work and all the stuff that's out in their personal life, and they let it rage out there in a mosh pot pit or something like that. But sister, I know you have to go. We'll have to have you back for anything else that comes down the pipeline. Let me say peace and love to travel with Wave. Thank you for coming over, sister, and supporting the channel. And we got Sister Hill. These are folks that have subscribed to my channel. I'm subscribed to their channel. So we got Sister Hill is here. Healing is here. And let me give her a clap. Thank you. Saying greetings, family. Saying greetings to Sister Murray. We got RY who just came in. Tiffany, and we got Shauna Kim. Thank you for coming over. I hope you stay with the channel, subscribe, and be a part of the family over here. We got BX Beefing. Sorry I'm late, information man. Hey, you'll have to watch the replay because the great and one and only, okay, Empowered Esquire has to go. So let me make you front and center, sister. So before you go, any last words you want to let the folks know out there know? Remind them about your channel, any social media, any upcoming streams you're going to have. Go right ahead.
Absolutely. So to close out my initial thought, I'll just say I'm in no way the music police. But if you are like me and you enjoy, some music that's a little bit more ratchet, keep it to working out. I noticed that it's good to get you pumped up for working out. Okay, cool. But other than that, do not listen to it. I am telling you that you will find yourself being a lot more angry and a lot more dissatisfied with your life. And I really think that's connected to the music. So to close that, as far as just general announcements, I'm here on YouTube as Empowered Esquire TV. I also have a podcast. It's also called Empowered Esquire. The podcast is on Anchor. It's on Google Podcasts. It's on Spreaker. It's on Spotify. And I do, kind of shorter spurts of thought there. So if you like the podcast form, you could check me out there as well. And thank you for having me per usual. Again, Colorful Roots, check them out.
Oh yeah, let me get that. Let everybody see that. That's wonderful.
Colorful Roots, amazing company, and I'm proud to say one of my clients as well. So
okay,
check them out, and Above the Bar Law Firm, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I want to say this in closing. Let's all give our prayers to those that have lost their life. There was a beautiful I got to just keep it real, young 9-year-old African-American young boy who eventually died. And his father took him there for bonding. You all have heard about this story for bonding. And unfortunately, things went wrong that night, and he is no longer with us. And that adds to 10 victims in this situation. And it's a shame. So give your prayers to the family, those that have lost their loved ones. I would say think about your decision when it comes to these type of concerts. Do you want to go to these concerts? And do you, not let alone you go to these concerts, but do you want your young 9 and 8-year-old kids going to this just because they're giving you that circus festival atmosphere prior to the concert? And you say, okay, let's go on up in here. You got to be very careful. You got to make really adult decisions for your kids. They depend on you. But sister, let me give you a clap. I appreciate you coming over. Thank you. And we'll have to do this again very soon, whatever comes down the pipeline. So take care, everybody. That is the Empowered Esquire. Again, fantastic sister. I hope you all go and check out her channel. I want to thank her for coming over to this evening. I want to thank you all for coming over. This has been a surprise stream for you all tonight. And Hey, don't be surprised if you see me streaming a little bit more going into this week, because I'm taking some time. I'm going to be taking some personal time, a little bit of vacation time myself, just to kind of like, more free time for myself. So that means that you may see me give you another pop-up stream, even before I stream this upcoming Sunday. If you're new to the channel, you can catch me on Sundays around, I'm in the West Coast, so sometimes I go live 1:30 to 2:30. Y'all know how I get. I be a little late sometimes trying to get things set up and on the go, but I stream. I touch on all different topics, whether it be topics like this, what's happening in the news, what's happening socially, economically, politically, culturally. Sometimes I bring people on the panel. I've been doing panels a little bit more lately, and we have a hearty discussion within the community. Whatever's coming down the pipeline, I'm going to talk about it. I may have a stream on educational issues, may bring up guests for interviews and give you surprises like that. And that's what we do over here on the Information Man Show. So tell everybody about the program. Tell your mother, your father, your brother, your uncle, your cousin. Tell the man around the woman, the child, your best friends. Tell everybody down the street, around the block, and up the stairs, wherever you are. Tell everybody about the program. Come on over here, subscribe, hit the bell of notification so that when I go live, you could be a part of what we got going over here. Matter of fact, when people donate to me, guess what? I put it back into the program to improve the cameras, improve what I'm doing. And I got more coming down the pipeline. We're going to all grow together. You're not followers. You are people who support. You are great people who support the show. And because people come over and support me so heavily like this, it actually inspires me to figure out, what do I got to do next? What's the next thing I need to do? What do I need to read and study up on? What can I hit the people with next? So it inspires me. And as I was telling everybody before, probably by next year, maybe late next year, I don't know, because I'm still working on it. I'm going to have a vlog channel where I'm not going to get into political issues and all of that. You're just going to see me out and about in the community, traveling around, going to different cities and places and events that are happening right out there. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it big time, folks, with that channel. That's going to be a channel for everybody all over the world. Doesn't matter your race. I mean, I'm getting the equipment that I need for it, the proper cameras, the proper equipment that I need. Everything that I need to really turn that channel into something great. That's going to be a little bit of fun channel where you're going to get a different, more personable aspect of me out and about. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be doing some marketing for that channel before I launch it. I'm doing it very slowly because it has the potential to be a channel that could really be a big channel, but I got to do it right. Take my time with it. No matter how long it takes me to launch the channel, I want to do it right. So that's something to look down the pipeline of a channel that I'm going to create. If you have not checked out my second channel, that's a fun channel, the podcast. I go over there and I uploaded videos for you. Sometimes I might go live, or I'll do a premiere video or something like that every now and then. That's the podcast channel, the Information Man Speaks podcast. And just like Sister Empowered Esquire, you can also hear my podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Spreaker, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you have podcasts, TuneIn, radio.com live. You can hear it everywhere. And guess what? This is the catch, though. Everything that's on my podcast, on the traditional podcast, radio style podcast, it's different material. It's not everything that I'm doing here. And even my YouTube podcast, most of it is different material from what's on the radio style podcast. Okay. You can also catch me on Haps TV, where I do sort of a radio style program where I rant and rave over there. And every time, that's like a pop-up program that I do that usually goes into my Information Man Facebook page. It goes all over my social media, Twitch. I'm on Twitch, Facebook, the whole 9 yard. And so that's a program that will pop up every now and then on all the different social medias that I'm on. And you can catch it on Twitter. If you follow me on my Twitter, at Clinton06 Information Man, you can catch me over there, and you can catch that radio program that I do, where I do pop-up radio programs, where I give you more of a radio style program where I elaborate on issues that are going on as well. So I'm all over the social media, and I thank you all for being here again. I want to say peace and love to the Empress KIYA. I want to say peace and love to Sister Brown Girl. Happy birthday to you. I know you have a birthday coming up. If this is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. But if it's not and you got your birthdays coming soon, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you from Information Man. We got the Creed Man. I'm glad I could help. Thank you, Creed Man, for coming over. Appreciate you, brother. We got Design Plus is in the house. Thank you for being here. RY, thank you. You came upstairs yesterday. We got to hear your voice. Wonderful voice that you have. And then we got the beautiful Be the Difference clothing. Hello, world. That's what she always says. We got my man, Real Aaron Collins, who's been following me for a long time. Thank you, brother, for coming over. Appreciate you, brother, so much. And then we got Sister Golden Melanin. She is consistent. She comes over here every time I go live. All of you do, but I just got to give acknowledgement to folks that are really rocking hard. Chris CC, you will see brother Pascal will be over here. He told me a long time ago I just need to contact him on the IG. I will do that. I'm just so busy with, so many different things, but I will get him over here. You will see the brother over here doing his thing. Pascal, I love his show. I love his style. His channel's big. He's growing. He's doing big. But what I like about Pascal is that he allows people to come up on his panel and give their opinions. And I really appreciate about that. So shout out to that, brother. We got Vaughn. We got DOD. Hey, everybody, DOD has a channel. It's called DOD, you're a mod, man. You're more than welcome to drop the link to your channel in the chat room anytime, brother, because you have only black news channel on YouTube. He gets into the black news. The brother is dedicated, and I want to say peace to him. He's a Scorpio like me. He had a birthday too, ladies and gentlemen. Peace to that brother. So, and if you are a mod and you have a channel, you have a channel, I don't have a problem, especially if you are a mod. I don't have a problem with mods dropping the link to their channel. Go ahead and do that. You're a part of this family. I want everybody in this chat to support each other. Just don't forget about my links too. But I want people to support each other. All right. We got Chris CC, Be the Difference. Over 50 and Fabulous has a YouTube channel. Check her out as well. Give her support. Just love on each other. And I'll be back with more content. Oh, we got Sugar Love that came in the house. And we got Sister Murray. And we got the House of X Entertainment that's been here for some time. And we got Tiffany Jackson, Sugar Love. Thank you for coming over. Man, folks been rocking with me. So, like I said, folks, this is what I may be doing. I want to do a story about the young man who passed away, who got hurt, the black young man the young 9-year-old who died in this situation. I'm going to do a premiere video. So I'm going to go into the studio here and record it. And then I'm going to release it as a premiere video this week and let y'all check that out. I know people have been talking about it. I just want to do my part in talking about it and give my commentary on it. And because it's a shame. And I'm so sorry that happened. And I just still think that the concert from start to finish was a disaster. They were having problems from the beginning and they failed. And like the Empowered Esquire said, there's going to be liability going around. And I think Travis Scott is going to be hit hard. I don't know if it's going to ruin his career, but monies are going to be having to be paid. So everybody out there, let me give you a clap again. Let me get out of here. Appreciate you all again. I'll be back on I'll drop a couple of video. I'll drop a premiere video and I definitely will go live before Sunday at some point in time. I'll have to see how things are going, but you will see content and you definitely will see content on the second channel. Don't forget about that channel too. It's a little small channel it's growing little by little, but it's a fun channel because I get into issues And I talk about issues over there, and I do it for a short amount of time. And don't sleep on that Art Kelly with the comic book one that I did. I debated about whether I was going to do it on this channel or the second channel. I probably should have put it on this channel, but you gotta check it out because it is hilarious. Check that out on the second channel. Check it out. So everybody, again, share this video in all your social media. Okay, share it. You know how I do over here. Share it just like that, like so. And let me say this to you again. As I put this up here, let me say thank you for watching tonight. And like and comment when you have a chance. Subscribe to the channel. Share this in all your social media, in your community tabs if you're a content creator, because I appreciate that. And of course, this is on YouTube tonight. And everybody out there watching in the bushes, I appreciate you too. And with that said, it's time to get on out of here. Peace, everybody. I love you all.
To me, E-boys like you every dinner. I don't believe what you preach.
The Empowered Esquire.
Hang out with boys in the street. Like that will make you a winner. I don't believe what I see. Are you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold. Walk around like everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm a young, stupid fool. Take off all your clothes. You're nothing more than silverware. Why you calling me honey? Why you show off your money? Wave it like it's a tissue. Baby, this is your issue. I'm not falling for bullshit. If you like me, then say it. That I see through this facade that surrounds you. Growing up takes time, so don't you waste.
I appreciate everybody.
You and me ain't right. I'm wearing gold. You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You're nothing more than silverware.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel.
So done with you. I'm over you, so done with you. Why you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm a young, stupid fool. Take off all your clothes.
Tell the truth.
You're nothing more than silverware.
The Information Man Show.
extra, but I know I'm the same. Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. Cause when it pop off, it's like, oh my, all good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave, tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night. Now all of my calls go to voicemail. I block you so I don't raise hell. Should've talked through it in detail. Our separate ways ain't gon' end well, no. But when we get back, it's like, oh my, all bad all day, but the night I get that good till we act right. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too.
Tell the truth.
Stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave, tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead.
Look.
We could go all night.
I've been calm, cool, collected, but you pushing on my nerves, and I know your intention, I'm under pressure. Okay, I'm admitting that a couple things I said got acidic in the tone, in the presence I get careless. Long as you know I come with imperfections. When you look at me, you see the soul through my flesh. You something special. No, you looking bomb the way you dress.
Over 50 and Fabulous. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Very much. I definitely very much appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the
I know
super
the way
chat.
you like it. I treat you like a queen, run the castle, you a treasure. Feel like you setting fire to my desire for the pleasure. You a gem, got me blameless, make amends, know you can, I'm out here.
Tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we can share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could go all night. We could go all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. I see we got my man, Real Aaron Collins. Thank you for the $5 super chat, brother. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the
I really
super
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
You're listening to the Information Man Show. Everyone have a great rest of their evening. Thank you for the incredible support as always. Love you all. And I will see you again live up here, and you will see me in the YouTube streets. Thank you, Deborah, Catch by Faith, for the $10 super chat. And you said happy belated birthday. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that, sister. Check out her channel as well. Really great people in that chat room. I can't ask for a great number of people who really support what I'm doing over here. And when I have the opportunity to go to people's channels and give them support, I do the best I can to do that and make my rounds. And I appreciate you all. And so with that said, definitely have a great night.
Tell the truth.